This video will introduce you to the Analytical Paragraph Assignment. For this class, this is British literature, but the sample one works for any of the literature classes. So if you're watching this for a different literature class of mine, don't worry, that will work too. And you'll see it used to be called something different, but again, the sample's the same. So there are a couple of elements I want you to note here. First of all, this is, as this old title indicates, a formal assignment. That means that I expect this to be every bit as polished as a final draft of a paper. And the reason for that is because I want to be able to give you accurate feedback. I want to see what's the best writing you can do, and then how can I give you feedback that will help you improve your writing. So it is important that you give me something good to work with rather than giving me something that's full of errors that you actually knew were there but didn't get around to correcting. Then I'm going to be wasting time telling you something you already know. Like, yeah, I don't need that feedback. So I want to make sure I'm giving you feedback that you need. Okay, so in terms of details, always put your name in the assignment. It's helpful to put the class on there. Put whatever prompt you are using. So the prompt number is fine. You can also give a short description or if you wanted. So this one would be prompt 6, name your own prompt, because this is a prompt I made up. And the word count should be right here at the top. And then the name of the assignment is helpful as well. Okay, so there are 4 different elements to this paragraph in my sample. There's the thesis, the topic claim stated right here, the color key, and then the paragraph itself. I'm going to address each of these items. First, the thesis you do not have to include in your own paragraph. I have it here so that you as a reader have a sense of what larger issue I'm trying to work towards in my paragraph, because that will be something you want to do in your paragraph, is work towards a larger issue. In your case, it will be whatever prompt you're writing towards. So I have written my thesis right here for your reference, but also for my reference as I'm writing. You are welcome to do this in your paragraph. If you do include your thesis, I will not count it towards or against your paragraph grade. I might give you a comment on it if I think there's something noteworthy about it, but it won't affect your grade one way or another. The topic claim. You'll see this element is the exact same as the first sentence of my paragraph. The reason I have a separate section for the topic claim is because I want you to make sure that you actually have a topic claim and that it is using the claim formula. And that's why I ask you to include this element separately from the paragraph itself. It's a visual cue to both you and me that, hey, I do have a claim formula guiding my paragraph here. So as you'll see, I've got the claim formula here. You're welcome to copy that into your own paragraph as a good reminder. Feel free to use the reversed version of the claim formula if that's what works better for you. So this version is the version that often works best for detail people, because I am a detail person, so that's what I tend to use. But you can also do the what is the impact on the reader plus how the text shows us that impact. All right, so now I've got my actual topic claim right here, and it's color-coded red. Now, you'll see a lot of this stuff is color-coded, and that brings us to one of the key purposes of this analytical paragraph assignment. First, let's look at the color coding, the third of our 4 elements in this sample. Here, I've given a key to explain what my color coding means. You're welcome to use this exact color coding, but I recognize that sometimes blue and green and purple are difficult for people with color blindness to see. So that's why I say you can choose whatever colors work for you as long as you give me a key about what each of those colors indicates. So here you'll see I am making my argument sentences red. An argument sentence will be a statement of opinion, and it's something a reasonable person could disagree with. We've talked quite a bit about these already in class when we were talking about claim formulas and what is a good claim formula and how can you spot one. These 2 sentences we have not talked about. So that's evidence, which I have color-coded blue, This will usually be textual evidence, so quotations directly from the text. You'll need page numbers and quotation marks, line numbers, and you'll need those whether or not you quote directly. So even if you're paraphrasing, you need page numbers and line numbers in a parenthetical citation. I have a strong preference for quoting directly from the text. And I know that you have probably had some teachers that really hate it when you do that. And that's why I'm telling you up front. I prefer it when you quote directly from the text rather than giving me a big summary. That being said, I do prefer short quotations where you introduce maybe 3 words or so and explain how that proves your point, and then move on to the next 3 words or so. This is much more effective at explaining your logic than something like introducing a paragraph or introducing like 6 lines of poetry, because then your reader doesn't know what to pay attention to in those lines. Okay, the third color you'll see is my explanation sentences, which I have color-coded green right here, but also I wrote purple because at one point I was like, oh, well, argument plus evidence is your explanation. So red plus blue is purple. Anyway, but then I realized purple is even harder for people with color blindness to see than green. So anyway, that's just a fun little quirk in this sample. But regardless, an explanation sentence is a type of sentence that will explain how the evidence supports your claim. And this is the hardest kind of sentence to write. So hard, in fact, that I wrote a whole other handout on how to do this. And so you'll see that explaining your logic handout is also available to you. So I'm not going to go into super detail about the explanation sentences right now, other than pointing out that they should be a large chunk of what you're writing. So if you zoom out and look at my sample paragraph, most of the color in this paragraph is green. So you'll see there are a couple of red sentences, 3. There are some blue sections. So there's 1 blue, 2 blue, 3, 4 blue sections. So note 3 claims, 4 evidence, and then these big green sections. So even though there are only 3 green sections, the sections themselves are rather big. And so that tells you what writing should look like for the type of assignment this is, which is you are stating your own opinions, absolutely. And you can use the word I. You are including evidence from the text because that's how you arrived at your opinions. But the biggest chunk of what you're doing is explaining to your reader how that evidence led you to that claim that you came up with. And it can be difficult to explain that, which is why you need a lot of room for your green. All right, so as you may guess, you will have to color code your own paragraph. And unfortunately, you can't just write them and be like, I don't know, wizard word, figure it out. What's a claim, what's evidence, what's an explanation. That is a part of this assignment, and it's an important part of this assignment because it tells me what you think claims look like and what you think evidence look like and what you think it looks like when you explain your logic. So when I can see what you think each of these things looks like, I can give you better feedback. And that's why I have you color code your analytical paragraph. So that's the assignment. You will need a works cited page. It's works plural if you cited more than one item. If you only cited one item, then it would be works singular. I cited 2 things because I cited the broad view and I cited the Middle English Dictionary. If you end up writing about any of the original Middle English, so the stuff on the left of the page with Sir Gawain, or if you write about the Canterbury Tales, then definitely check out the Middle English Dictionary and talk to me about how to use it because it's not as straightforward as it should be. Anyway, that is the analytical paragraph assignment, and feel free to post on Yellow Dig any questions that you have using the Q&A tag. Thanks, everybody.